This next card is easy. So what I did was I have a piece of 8.5, no I don't, it's 11 by 4 1/4 thick basic white cardstock. And then I cut a piece of this designer paper that I love so much. And you can do it like this, or you can cut it a little differently, but in order to get the sky and the flowers all in there, I was looking at my paper and I marked onto the right side where it was actually cut by me. So when I cut paper, I don't generally cut all the way across like I told you to do on that other card. I will cut as far as the width I need. So I would have cut from 3 1/4 inches down, and I would have only gone over to 4 inches. So, because I feel like a lot of times you lose a lot of your designer paper usage by cutting it in strips like that. So I just cut out the parts that I need, and then I have other parts to work with. But if you were to put your cutting mark at 3 1/4 inches down, here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you put it at 3 1/4 inches down, and it would be on the back side. Well, okay, so I would start cutting. Now what I would do is I would do this. I would mark it at 3 1/4 inches. And your deal here has measurements on it. I've put a little strip of white cardstock behind there so that I can actually see them better. But then I will take my cutting blade and I will cut all the way down to the 4-inch mark. And I would stop. And then I know that I need 5 1/4 inches down. So then at this point, I would take my cardstock, and granted, I would be cutting from this side now. So 4 inches is how wide I want it to be. So I cut it at 3 1/4, and then I would cut down 5 now I lost myself. Okay, you want to cut it down. So at 4 inches is where you cut to that point. So you're going to go up to that 3 1/4 inch mark, and you're going to go down another 5 1/4 inches cutting. And then you can turn it back around again, and you can cut from that 5 1/4 inch line. If you mark your cardstock, and I did here, then you can cut it back over to the 4 inch. And then you would only have cut out this piece here and still have all the rest of this paper and things that are going to be available for different lengths that you need. So that's just how I do it. So however you want to do it, it is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches long, getting in the sky and the flowers. So then what I did on this card is I had a piece of, had a piece of basic white cardstock, and I cut out my fence. And then I adhered that with glue across the grassy, flowery edge. And then this particular fox is not one of these foxes. So I stamped him on a piece of basic white cardstock using Memento black ink, and I colored his hat in with my blends using So Saffron, both the light and the dark. And then I used Balmy Blue for the umbrella and his little coat. And I used both the dark and the light to get some dimension. And then the fox is colored with the blends using Soft Suede, light and dark. Then I cut him out using the die that we used before on the other card. And then the last thing on here is on that same piece of cardstock that we took this out of, I used my die and I cut the clouds from there, and it cuts them individually. That's all 3 of them. So the fox is on dimensionals and the clouds are on dimensionals. That's all there is with that card. Oh, well, no, I didn't do anything to the inside. Can you see the little flowers down here? Those are not orderable. Those are the little daisy flowers. And they come in you get 300 in this little box. Loose daisy embellishments. They're only $7. You can order them later. It says you can get them like at the end of the month or maybe the 1st of March. But here's all the little daisies, and I just put little drops of glue on here and put daisies on. You can do that for any of these cards, whatever you like. So that's what I did for that card, and that's all there is to that one.